How's it going, folks? How are we doing tonight? Let me tell you, man, being a Spurs fan, man. Terrible, bro. Terrible. You already know what's going on. You already know what we're going to talk about. So I'm just going to take this moment and let y'all give a round of applause for yourselves, because you didn't have to be here tonight. You could have been anywhere. I've been late. Hella late. I'm sorry. Some extra work in the office. But we finished up. We got here. I still got everything set up to stream. As usual, took me a little bit longer as well. I got back home at 6, so I was working all the way up until 6 when I was supposed to start streaming. So I do apologize. How I usually set up my streams, I get off earlier and I take that time to set up for the stream, so I'm ready to go at 6. Fortunately, I wasn't able to do that, so I'm coming live late, but I'm happy you're here. Happy to see you guys. Hopefully you're happy to see me, right? Go ahead and put my face on the screen. How we doing, folks? What's going on? It's De La Spurs Live. I'm coming to you guys live March 11th. I want to say it's around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time where I'm at. So coming to you guys a little bit later than planned, but that's just what happened. That was unfortunate what the overtime I got assigned, like, as soon as I was leaving the office. Like, I want to say, like, literally 15 minutes before I was supposed to leave. He said, hey, we got some extra work. You know, we've been busy. If you got some time. Of course, just trying to be a team player now. So sorry to be coming to you guys late. I do apologize. I know, I'm so sorry. But I am glad to see y'all. Glad you guys chose to tune into the live stream late. If you are watching this on the playback, do understand I do usually go live 6 p.m. Central Standard Time every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So please understand this is a different circumstance. I'm going to try to keep this video short since I am running late. I don't want to take too much of your guys' night. I do appreciate it if you do tune in. Also, just going to take a moment here and transition onto this. Listen, if you go ahead for me, like this live stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell. You would have saw I posted when I was going live at 6 o'clock, and then you would have seen the next post I updated what I said. It was a lie. I'm not going live at 6 o'clock. So you want to be tuned in to those posts. You want to get the notification when I post with the updates of when I'm going live. Subscribe to the YouTube. You can also follow me on X. That's also in the description below. I'll also post on X. I'll have the link for the live as well. I posted on X as well with the updates for the live. So if you want to get the updates when De La Spurs is going live, if you want to see me going crazy, going snapping at fans, you know what I'm saying? You want to see me ranting and raving during the game, follow me on X. You can get all that content. Feel free to throw a comment below as well. Let me know what you like about the content. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What can be improved? What you want to see? What you don't want to see? What you just want to talk about, you think? Throw a comment down below. I really do appreciate it, folks. Yeah. You know why we're here, man. You know why we're here. It was a shit show. It was a shit show at Athletico Madrid. Listen, I'm not sugarcoating nothing here. All right. We need to have a serious heart-to-heart with this team, right? Because I'm gonna be honest, right? I was one of the fans that sat here and wanted to say, oh, hey, you know, maybe the players in the Champions League, they get a little break from the Premier League. It won't be as tough. It won't be as intense. We got our asses handed to us, handedly. We're going to go through this all, but I just want to say right off the bat, This is it's absolutely dire. I didn't know it could get much worse from here. It got so much worse from here. It's only getting worse from here. Like it is it's a dire situation. We are in dire times. Dire times. Like it's no joke, man. It's no joke. We this team has no confidence, right? They have no belief, right? I don't even think they have positive thoughts right now. I think if you were to ask them any sort of things, they're all just going to be almost negative. I don't know where they can get any positivity from. I don't know where they're drawing it from. You have a manager right now who's come in his lead with the stick approach has become so freaking divisive that he's done the opposite. He's turned all these players against him. Like almost all of the squad is against him. You may have the young players that still want to go out there and still want to run because they know their careers on the line. But for the players that feel like and know that they can get a move after this, they're done with this dude. They're done with this dude. And he's come in and just he's not only ripped up everything that Frank has built, he's destroyed that and then destroyed or is in the process of knocking down and destroying whatever these players may have had within themselves that they carry themselves to every club. Whatever confidence and belief and any sort of just any sort of mojo, any flow, any swag, like it's all gone. It's all gone. Any sort of a thing you can rely on mentally to stabilize yourself in this moment, it's all gone. And I'm telling you, in moments like this, and this is, I understand it is football, but you can see how these can be a reflection of bigger things going on right now to the players, right? The football is not good, right? They're not playing good football. But I think there's an actual reflection of what's going on past that, going on with these players, because it's something going on up here. It's not just, bad day at the office. We're not scoring, passes just going awry, it's more than that. These players are mentally defeated, and there's not much of anything that's uplifting them, inspiring them, changing their way of thought. And that's the first step. If you're going to overcome something like this, you have to start mentally. You have to start mentally. You have to start with the belief in yourself. You can't, as much as, these are professional football players, right? And as crazy as this sounds, that when I say this, they can only control so much right now with where their mind's at. They can only do so much with where their mentality is at. And it goes down to, and I literally mean the basics. I'm talking about kicking, passing a ball, running, tracking players down, tackles, shots on goal, the very basic things you think as a football player. I'm telling you, in this sort of mind state you're in, even that it's thrown off. Not saying they can't do it. It's just thrown off. It's thrown off. I don't think people understand how much you do practice. You do have skill. Again, professional football players. They're professional football players. But you don't understand how much, I don't want to say momentum, but there has to be a mojo that a player has. When you're talking about a player taking on a player, right? In a 1v1 situation, right? There's no textbook 2 or 3 moves that you do, right? There's no book you can get that shows you this is how you take on a defender 1-on-1. It's all about the player's creativity, his swag, his confidence in himself, right? All those things come into account with the actual technical skill, right? And physically moving the ball in his body to create that space for himself, to get past the defender. But that all starts up here. He has to have that momentum, that flow, that mojo in his mind that when he gets the ball, he's ready to shift. He's ready to make a move. He's ready to boom, do something with it. And right now, the players don't have that in their mind. That's why you can see it almost looks like they're just kind of dead on the ball. They're dead on the ball. It looks like they're dead out there walking on the field. Listen, we're going to go over everything. We're going to cover the starting lineups, do the same jazz, but man, it's just oh my gosh. We're at that. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It was 4-0 at one point. It's 4-0. It's 4-0 in the first half. It's embarrassing. It's like there's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can do to salvage that. It's embarrassing, man. It's just it's outright and absolutely embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. There's not much you can do or say as a Spurs fan other than say that you were embarrassed to watch that game. Fans that were there at the game, they were embarrassed, so embarrassed that they left. Just left the game. And how embarrassing is that? You don't think they're getting jeered? You don't think Athletico Madrid fans are just letting them have it as they're just walking out of the stadium, looking at their team be down 4-0 in a matter of 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Listen, I just wanted to get that out the way, but hey, we're still going to do this the right way here. We're still going to do our starting lineups. I got it shared here on the screen. Let me get this pulled up. All right. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. Just wow. Wow. Look at all those goals before the 25th minute. I was wrong. 4 goals before 25 minutes. Just barely 20 minutes played. Look at that. It's just embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. We're going to go over the lineups, right? So here we got Tottenham's lineup here. So, and this is where I want to start here. Let me just say this, right? Because I remember talking about this specifically. And I remember saying, right, and Tudor got this wrong, right? Let's just say this is the first thing he got wrong. In goal, Kinski, right? We obviously see he was the disaster that led to the first 2 goals, slipping, sliding, mispassing the ball, just an absolute disaster, right? In the last live stream on Monday, I said, okay, and this was just looking at the SofaScore predicted lineup, by the way. This is not any sort of official lineup, right? This is just the lineup this website predicted. So going off of that, saying if Vicario was to get the start, he should get the start, right? Because as much as I've been saying Kinski should be getting the start in these Premier League games, you're now going into a Champions League game where you're going to need someone who's, again, kind of like I mentioned before, who has some momentum, who has some mojo. Now, granted, it's not a lot. It's barely, if any, if Vicario has any, but also the things to take into account, he's in playing form, playing shape, all right? He's he's been playing in the system, taking instructions from Tudor. He's been playing with these center backs now. Kinski has barely played the season, if he's played at all. And you want to give him the start in a Champions League game. I even said it before. I said, hey, as much as I've been saying Kinski to start, don't start Kinski in this game. He's not going to be ready. He's not going to be up to speed. He's not going to have the momentum he needs to go and jump into this game. So I even said, as much as it hurts to say, I would leave Vicario in goal because he's been playing in goal this whole time, right? Why would you start? You've been starting Vicario, who's been I don't want to say been terrible in goal, but has not been doing well. And if you were looking to make a change to spark some inspiration, you would think in the 3 previous London derbies we just played, those were the games you would want to experiment to try to draw some inspiration from some players. But now you want to wait until the Champions League game to do that? So now it just didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me, right? That Kinski got the start. So this is the first wrong thing Tudor got, right? We look at the formation. It's a back 3. Now we actually had 3 center backs that we could play, but look at the formation that we're playing. We in the 3 center back positions, we had Van de Ven, Romero, Danzo. But look at that midfield, right? Look at that midfield. Pape Sarr, Archie Gray, and then you had Jed Spence and Poro out wide. All right, completely wrong. Again, like how I mentioned before, right? Trying to play this 3 at the back, I'd rather put 3 players in the midfield, right? I'd rather put the players in their natural, strongest positions and at least put some players in the midfield. We've been getting run through in the midfield, right? And then you want to put one kid in the midfield, and second, Pape Sarr, who, again, I'm not sure what his deal is. I'm not really sure what he's good at. He's one of those players similar to what we say with a lot of players, right? Put them on a good team, okay, they may do well, right? But they're not any sort of standout player on their own whatsoever. I don't know what Pape Sarr does. I really don't. And he never really stands out to me. If the team has a good performance and he's in the team, then yeah, he's probably having a good performance as well. But there's never been a game where Pape Sarr has just been the standout player. He was a player that everybody looked to, that was dragging the team upfield, backfield, making the tackles, passing the ball. Like, he doesn't do any of that. So you put this guy who's well, folks, StreamYard just took a shit on me. I'm so sorry. That was what an absolute calamity that was. Oh my gosh. The whole stream just took a crap on me. Listen, I'm so sorry that happened. I'm still trying to get this stuff reorganized now. Listen, we're still doing the stream. We're still doing this stream. God damn it. We're still doing this stream, okay? The stream is still going to be what it is. But it has been filled with mistakes, all right? There has been a lot of mistakes. It is what it is. It is what it is. All right. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Here we go. All right. Let's get back to the lineup. So, like I was saying, right, there was no midfield, right? We had Jed Spence, Pedro Porro out wide. Listen, they're playing somewhat in their natural positions. At least Pedro Porro somewhat was. He had a better. Yeah, he had the best game, as you can see, out of the bunch. And then up top we had Richarlison, Matisse Tell, and Kolo Muani. So as far as the three up top, I mean, yeah, that's probably the best of what you could get in this situation. Other than I think Solanke, and I mean, the formation itself, the 3-4-3, is an issue. This is an issue. We need to nip this in the bud, and we need to nip this in the bud fast. All right. We need three midfielders. We need three midfielders. We need to have three midfielders. This playing with three at the back, with two midfielders supposedly roaming around, covering, I guess, one whole left side of the field and one whole right side of the field is not working, right? Because they're being split up, and there's just a wide space through the midfield, and we just get run through. If for whatever reason these players aren't getting back, they aren't defending. Our defenders aren't getting to attackers fast enough. We're not blocking shots. It is a mess. And I believe this formation has a lot to do with it. One, even though we played this with Thomas Frank, right? We were way more defensive. We were not pressing. We were sitting back. And maybe you can see why, because maybe this team can't handle the amount how a team could just gap us wide open. Like, I mean, seriously, they just the midfield, opening us wide from the midfield. So maybe Thomas Frank, when he played the 3-4-3, thought to condense the team enough and sit back enough to where we don't give up that space and we can try to operate from there. But with Tudor, he wants to not necessarily play high up, but he wants to kind of do this half pressing, half. It's not working. It's not working because if the press then takes one of these midfielders with them, then there's just so much space for teams to operate in. And this press is not consistent enough. It's not good enough to try to rely on, because teams have been playing through it with ease. So why we keep going back to this, why we keep playing this formation, I don't understand. Tudor has to make the change for me. Listen, we're gonna go now to the first half versus the second half. Okay. First half. So first half, obviously the calamity, right? The big calamity happened. Pretty much 4 mistakes, 4 goals. It's just absolutely just terrible. But as you can see there, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, dominating possession. All right, 4 big chances, 4 big goals. They converted on all of those big chances. 9 shots in total to our 5, right? We had to make 2 saves to their 1. They had more corner kicks, more passes, more tackles, more free kicks. They were just dominating. Look at this goal. Look at this goal sheet. Look at this. Look at this. It's absolutely domination. Barely anything outside of the box because it's just absolute domination. Absolute domination in the first half. Again, 9 total shots, 5 on target to R2. Right, we had 1 hit the woodwork. We did score 1 goal, but I mean, nah, man. And look at the big things: 7 shots inside the box, 7 shots. So, like I said, whatever this formation is that Tudor's wanting to do, we're not getting to defenders fast enough. We're not preventing attackers from creating chances. We're not stopping attackers from getting into the box. We're not stopping attackers when they're in the box. So playing with these 3 center backs and the 2 in the midfield is not working. If it's something that he's doing, he hasn't drilled into this team or coordinated enough with this team to get it to work. And quite frankly, with his talk at the beginning of the season, right? Remember, he's sitting here saying, I know I'm not here for a good time or I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for, to make something work, to try to get something from this team. I'm here for a job, to do some work. But whatever you're doing right now, man, is not working. So if you're sitting there hoping on your laurels that hopefully by the 3 or 4 games left, your tactics start to settle in, or you feel like, oh, I still need time to work with this team, bro, you don't got a lot of time. That was the whole point. You don't got a lot of time. So you need to put some in place that the players understand. They'll be able to get something that you can work with in a short amount of time and get results from. But he's not doing that either. We can see we've been playing this way since Arsenal. We've been playing this way since Arsenal, and it's not getting any better. We've been playing worse. We've been playing worse. It's going down the wings. So you can see here, going down the wings. Once they get the ball in the box, boom, it's over. It's done. 4 big chances for 4 goals. So, right, then we go on into the second half, which second half, technically you could say is better. We drew with Athletico Madrid in the second half. So you can see here, right? Oh, look at this. Oh, stats looking better now. We have the more expected goals. We have the more big chances. We have the shots. After the game is over, by the way, right? This is at 4-1. So we know the game is kind of over, right? We may be trying to get some consolation goals. So when we try to play at home, it won't seem as bad. But do I have any belief in this team is going to have some fight, even if we did get it to a manageable level? No, I don't. If we scored 3 goals and made it 5-4, do I believe this team is going to have any confidence going into that home fixture? No, I don't. So, but hey, the pressure's off, right? Pressure's off. Game's pretty much over, right? Our fans are leaving out the stadium, right? So we don't even have to worry about the pressure and playing in front of Spurs fans that made it all the way to Spain, right? They're all gone. So pressure is truly off. We're in an away stadium, right? Nobody here likes us anyway. So even if we do make mistakes, who cares? They weren't going to cheer for us anyways. So pressure's off. Oh wow, look at this. Look at it. Look at these. Look how the stats just go in a different direction, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm sure Atletico Madrid didn't feel like they needed to throw the hammer down anymore. I think they knew the game was over as well. Hell, they might know that the tie is over, so they're just probably sitting back and defending. So when you see here, we start to pick up more, right? Let's see what our chances were that we had on goal, because They scored a goal, but we scored a goal as well, right? Just, I mean, just 6 shots on target. I mean, 6 total shots, 3 on target, right? We had more shots in the box, 1 shot outside of the box. We were going down the left side, so it's side with Matisse Tell and Xavi Simons, I think, when he came on. Just, I mean, I don't know, man. I really don't know. Speaking of which, all right, let's go. Let's talk about the subs, right? Which, I mean, they really didn't do anything in this game, but we're going to talk about them, right? So going back to the lineups, let's go down here. Let's look at the subs. Who came on for who? Right. So obviously Vicario came on, still conceded a goal, or still conceded a couple of goals. So it is what it is. Kinski held 3, Vicario held 2. Right. Not a good night for either goalkeeper. Conor Gallagher came on for Matisse Tell. Dominic Solanke, who got the goal, João Palhinha and Xavi Simons. Right. So and then João Palhinha came out with that injury from that collision. I think there were some comments about the concussion protocol, but I didn't really follow what the updates were from there. But yeah, you could say that they made somewhat of an impact. As you can see, they definitely had better games, right, than some of the players who were starting. Only one who really didn't was Vicario. And again, he held 2 versus Kinski, who held 3. But 2 of those were his mistakes. So, if he didn't make those mistakes, would he have not conceded as much or conceded the same amount? Who knows, right? Who knows? But, yeah, both your goalkeepers hold multiple goals in this game, right? It's just both your strikers get goals. Other than Pedro Porro, who contributed, nobody else really contributed in this game, and it was a absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. So, right, do we really need to ask this question? We will. Did Tudor get it right? Absolutely not. Hell no, he didn't get it right. Absolutely not. Obviously, from the goalkeeper to the formation to what we're now seeing reports that, I saw it in the game as well, but just the lack of acknowledgement he was giving players when they were coming off the field. I mean, again, this sort of lead with this big stick, and it's just so divisive right now because the players are like, listen, the players aren't up for that shit. They're not down for that. So him sitting there giving them the cold shoulder, like, yeah, you guys are playing like shit, so fuck you. They're like, listen, man, you still got to be the manager. You can sit here and cosplay like you're angry and upset like the Spurs fans, but you got to be our manager. You got to face us at the end of the game once we're in the locker room and all this. So him being all standoffish and having the show like, oh, I'm not standing with these players playing crap like this. Bro, you're the one who's giving us these talks in the background. You're the one who's setting us up with these tactics, right? Jed Spence came over to him, tapped him on the shoulder, forced him to shake his hand to like acknowledge us, right? This is as much as he's an interim, he's not going to be here for long. This is his mess. He put this team out. He put this squad out. He told them what tactics to play, how to play. So if he chose Kinski to be in goal. So if it's an absolute disaster, it's on him. It's just as much on him as it would be on any other manager in that position. Just as much as we would blame Frank, just as much as we would blame Ange, we would blame whoever the manager was in that position, we're going to blame you. And I think that was symbols of him trying to get them to acknowledge the players, one. But two, like, hey, bro, you, like, this is you. Like, this is you too. Like, we're all in this together. This isn't just, oh, well, the players are shit. The players are bad. Let's all point and laugh, or not point and laugh, but let's all point and boo at the players for how bad they're being, right? And I'm the manager, and I don't even approve of this. He's like, no, this whole PR show, this show you're putting up for everybody, like, oh, I'm not gonna stand for this, bro. You were in the locker room trying to hype us up a couple minutes ago, right? You're leading with this big stick, and it's not working. The stick is not working. So listen, man. Here's what it is. He didn't get it right. He got it wrong. Terrible decisions, terrible calls, and we're suffering because of it. We are suffering with this manager because of it. Just a couple of things I wanted to highlight with that. For one, right? Again, this whole big decision with Vicario being in goal, right? This is what I found interesting, and I'm not sure how true this report is, but I found this on X, right? Says here, it's claimed that Tudor needed to be reminded to inform Vicario that he was going to be dropped ahead of the naming of the team for the Atletico Madrid game. Additionally, players were understood to be shocked that Tudor did not console Kinski when he was subbed off at the Wanda Metropolitano. Substitute João Palhinha and Conor Gallagher rushed down the tunnel to offer support. So, one, that was surprising is that he had to be reminded that he hadn't told Vicario yet that he dropped him. So that lets me know one thing: the communication is not very well, right? The communication is not going well. It's not good. It's not very good. And whether that's because Vicario's with goalkeeper coaches during the training week, so Tudor doesn't really get to talk to him, or they're on separate pitches doing different training, so he doesn't really get to see him. The fact that he had to be reminded to inform him, I think one shows that his mind is elsewhere as well. His mind is, as much as he's trying to present cool, calm, and collected, right? His mind is out of here. Why do you need to be reminded that you need to tell your goalkeeper that you've been starting week after week after week, by the way? So you haven't had any trouble or any issues communicating that he's starting every week. But the second you're about to drop him, now all of a sudden you're forgetting to tell him, and now there's communication issues. And then in the second part as well, players were shocked that you didn't console Kinski. Yeah, because you chose him to start. You chose him to start. So why would you not console him when he's sitting there crying on the field that he conceded 3 goals? And also, by the way, he hasn't been playing. Yet I remind you again, he hasn't been playing a lot. So you're putting him on one of the toughest and most high pressure platforms that we're gonna have this season, and that's a round of 16 game in the Champions League, especially in the context of what this means to Tottenham and what this game would mean to the season. You can't tell me if we would have got a draw or even a crazy ass win that wouldn't probably propel the players, give them some sort of confidence that we would have got out of somewhere. Now, granted, it wouldn't have happened, right? I'm not saying we would have won the game, but I'm saying if that would have happened or we got a draw, even a draw would have been just a droplet of confidence and inspiration could grow from that, right? So you give him this platform, you give him this start, he falls apart, right? I understand it. He falls apart. You're not happy about that. You're not happy about that. He's sitting there looking out there, this guy that I picked, like, but anyways, he's not happy. You sub him off, right? talk to him. Put your arm around his shoulder. At least give him a fist dap and just be like, tough one. Tough one. Sucks. Like, say something. Kiss my ass. Fuck you. Like, say something. But the fact that he didn't acknowledge him, I'm telling you, this stick with him is not working, right? Maybe it works in Italy where the players are a little bit more mentally tough, but you're coming into England where these players are lauded like gods, right? Look how these Tottenham fans talk and fucking fall apart all over the players that we have now. Even now, these fans are, oh, these players, they just don't, they just, this isn't them. This isn't right. This isn't the players we know. We know this isn't right. They're better than this. We know that they're better than this. There's more in there. There's more in there. We just got to unlock it. We just got to find it. Just get behind the players. Get behind the team, please. Right? Even now, Tottenham fans are falling over these players. But like in this league, in the Premier League, and at Tottenham, these players can do no wrong. Their shit doesn't stink. And as a matter of fact, it's been our fault as fans for one, not backing these players enough. But then it's also the ownership's fault for not getting them a good manager, right? Because it's not even a matter of what the team is doing with the manager in that project. No, we've been asking for a manager to get something out of these players, right? And then maybe we can come to terms with that manager wanting to get rid of some players and wanting us to bring some more players in. But no, if we're going to like this manager, he needs to come in and get the best out of Bergvall and Archie Gray, right? He needs to get the best out of Kinski. He needs to get the best out of Sousa, right? He needs to be playing Richarlison and Matisse Tell, right? They need to be getting playing time. They need to, like, it's like the manager has to prove himself with these shit players to get any sort of credibility to do something, right? And don't get me wrong. We just had Thomas Frank and now this Igor guy come in and immediately tell us, well, yeah, I'm not expected to do much with this squad. I know the squad is shit. But your tactics and how you set up these players and these teams have just been as criminal, as bad as these players are. And that is the truth. That is for a fact that they have done themselves no favors. No favors. And you would think as a manager, saying and acknowledging how bad these players are coming into this game, let's just make it simple. I'll make it simple for them. Let Paulinho play in the 6, right? Or do a double pivot of Paulinho and an 8. Let Xavi play in the 10. Put Solanke or Richarlison in the middle as a striker, right? Let Matisse Tell play on the wing, play out wide, let him do his thing out there. Yeah, play Sousa, play Pedro Porro in their natural positions. Let Jet Spence come on as a substitute in his natural position, right? We have Connor Gray, or Connor Gallagher. We have Archie Gray that can come on for support in the midfield, right? We have Solanke or Richarlison. We got a striker in the back. Like, make it simple for these players to grasp onto something and to think of something and to believe in something. And then if it was still crap, you would say, hey, I'm playing these players in their natural positions. I simplify the game as much as I could. These players are awful, like I said at the beginning. But you're not even doing that. You're wanting to play these 3-4-3s. You're wanting the players to press with a back 5 for whatever reason. Who does that? You're asking this team to press when there's only 2 players in the midfield. So if one midfielder gets asked to press or has to push up, you're abandoning that midfield. Leaving it wide open. And then you're going to have 3 center backs. 3 center backs. It's just, he's not doing himself favors. Frank didn't do himself favors. Say the same thing with Ange. Without making the adjustments, he wasn't doing himself favors. But at least he got something with the squad, right? He fought and got something for the squad and got a trophy. So it is what it is with him. 50-50, however it is. However it went, it went. But Thomas Frank, Igor Tudor, no. Yes, these players were crap. I knew these players were crap coming in. But that was part of the job, bro. You have to do something. And don't get me wrong, I was all in support for the ownership to get these players out because I'm sick of seeing their faces. I'm sick of them getting all these opportunities here at Tottenham to prove themselves, and they keep falling short and keep failing year after year after year. So guess what? You don't get that opportunity anymore. You don't get the grace of that anymore. For me, as a fan, right? Because I don't think players should just be getting endless opportunities. You keep re-signing them, and just because the player agrees to do it, then that means that the player likes the club, and that means that there's an affection or anything. No, the player could just be doing that because he knows I'm shit. Know what? I'm going to go to a smaller team. I'm going to be paid less money. It probably won't get the same playing time. I'm going to stay here. So, like, I just thought that to get back to this, right? I just thought that was interesting in seeing all this, right? That Tudor is absolutely falling apart in his position. He's getting it wrong. Right? I thought this was also interesting as well. When asked, am I feeling if he's the right man for the Spurs job, he's saying, of course, but there's so many problems. It's not easy to explain. These things must be resolved internally. I'm not going to talk about it on the media. So he's sitting here saying as well, I mean, I am the right guy, but there's a lot of BS going on. Well, that was part of the job, bro. That's part of the job description. It's part of the job description. And I'm not trying just like with Frank, I try to give these managers the most leeway, credit in the bank, opportunities, space to do what they need to do. Because I know this ownership and how they operate has been dog shit for the last decade. But he's not doing himself any favors. And just like Frank, you continuing to run your mouth in these situations as you continue to underperform. You're not going to there's not going to be a quote that justifies your underperformance, right? There's not going to be some crazy doublespeak that justifies your underperformance with this team. It just won't happen. Thomas Frank was in your exact same position and tried to do that. He tried to be positive. He tried to be negative. He tried to go after the players. He tried to go after the club. He went after himself. He went after the fans. Couldn't find a quote. Couldn't find a quote that saved his job. So if Igor thinks that he's sitting here saying, I feel I am the right man for the Spurs job, of course, that's either because of some sort of pride with the situation with me isn't my fault. I'm qualified to be a manager at Tottenham Hotspur. It's the club and the situation that's so bad. Well, that's what happens when you get hired as an interim. We didn't hire you for a 2 or 3 year, 4-year project. Because if that's the case, then I would give you more leeway with saying something like this. But you were hired as an interim. You saw the situation. You were only going to have from February till May to get something out of this squad. With all the fires going on in the building, you knew you were going to have to get something out of this. So the fact that you are now being caught up in the flames, you can't be upset. We all see the fire that's going on. If you get caught up in the flames, that's on you. You decided to run in there. We asked you to do it. We said, hey, would you go into the fire force? And you said, yes. Yes, I'm the man. I'm your man. I'm going to do it. I'll take care of it. No, don't be mad that you're getting burned. Don't be upset that you're getting burned. And don't put it on us or put the onus on the players. Players didn't hire you. Players didn't convince you to come here. Like, if anything, you should be talking about Vinay and Lange. Be like, hey, Vinay and Lange, when I talked to them, or the Enoch children, when they were talking to me, this wasn't what the deal was. Or or maybe accept that the fires that you're seeing weren't going to be put out. You weren't going to put them out. We didn't ask you to put the fires out. We asked you to try to get something from the fire. And if you couldn't get something from the fire, then it is what it is. But you're getting burned right now. And you can't be upset. Be mad at yourself because you put yourself in the situation to get burned. How about that? It feels like he's upset, and he should be upset at himself. He's upset at the world. Am I the right man for the Spurs jobs? Of course, but there's so many problems. It's not easy to explain. These things need to be resolved internally. Well, guess what? We didn't ask you to do an analysis on what's wrong with Tottenham. We knew what's wrong with Tottenham. We know it's not easy to explain. We know that there's problems internally that must be resolved. But your job was to come in and get something from that. And you're not doing it. Last but not least, I just want to end on this. This is a horrible stat. But as you can see here, we have now surpassed. We have now the most matches lost by a team from Europe's top 5 leagues across all competitions since the start of last season. And just like Thomas Frank in the picture, I'm scratching my head wondering how the fuck it got this bad. Spurs have lost 44%. 44%, right? 44%. 45 out of 102 games matches played in that time span. They've lost 45 out of the 102 games. Not that we dropped points. Not that we just didn't win 45 out of the 102 games. We lost 45 out of the 102 games. I don't know if you know that, folks. I don't know if you know the laws of averages or anything, but that is a terrible team. That is a relegation level team. That is relegation form right then and there. Right then and there. Hold on. I'm sorry. I have to. Like, this is a joke. And you're talking about teams that you feel like deserve to be relegated instead of Tottenham. What excuse do you have? What do you have to go on? Because looking at these numbers, look, Wolverhampton, who are getting relegated, they have accepted their fate in relegation. We've lost more games to them in the last 2 seasons. They've been in the Premier League the last 2 seasons. And this season, they're getting relegated. And we have more losses than them. What excuse is there? You can't just say because we're a big team. We're not a big team. It's the second year we finished in 17th. Second year we finished in 17th. Just where it's just there's no reason, there's no way that there could be any excuses. There's no way that there could be any there's nothing that you could say or argue to say that Tottenham right now aren't where they're supposed to be. This is our form. This is the level. This is where this club has fallen to. I mean, look at let's see here. I know I said this was the last thing, but this is actually going to be the last thing. I just thought this was interesting, right? We're pulling up the same Opta table we've been looking at for the past couple of streams. I just want to give you guys an update here. Look at these numbers. Hopefully you can see the names here. Actually, yeah, let me just go ahead and do it this way. Right, look at this. Right, we're just going to go from 15 down, right? Actually, we're going to go from teams that actually have a percentile of being relegated down. So, sorry, let me go back up. Top of this table. This is the predicted table. So these are predicted outcomes. So as you can see here in the columns, right, you have the title. So that's the predicted their predicted percentage of getting of the team winning the Premier League title. This is the predicted likelihood of the teams getting Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, and teams getting relegated here in the far corner. So this is the far column we need to be looking at right here. And as a matter of fact, fuck that. We're just going to sort it so all this comes up to the top. So as you can see here, which teams exactly have a percentage of being relegated and who doesn't. And you can see that cutoff starts right there at that 15 mark with Leeds United. So you can see Leeds, who have now kind of who have gained some percentage, are now at 7.8% of getting relegated. Right now, I don't know if you remember, but at one point their percentage was like right where we were, if not probably a little bit higher, because the people who run this still use their eye test and say, hey, we feel that, I don't know what it is. Honestly, if it's an eye test, if they're running numbers, I don't know what, but they were still saying, hey, Leeds United is still probably more likely than going down than Spurs. But look at where the numbers are now. We are at 18.11%. We're almost at 20%. We see Nottingham Forest position lower than us in 17th. They're at 18. They're at 25%. So they're at a quarter. One in a four chance that they'll get relegated. Then you look at West Ham, who's right under 50% now. So theirs is a toss-up. It's 50-50. They could be relegated. They could not be. Burnley, Wolves, those are at 99%. Those are pretty much confirmed. Right? This number is only getting higher, folks. Remember, it was only at 4%? And then it was creeping up, maybe 6%, 7%. Now it's at 18%. We're almost at 20%. And I'm sure after this Liverpool game, right, we're going to be right there at 25%, where Nottingham Forest is, especially depending on what result they get in their game, especially what the result West Ham gets in their game. I thought that was interesting because the likelihood of us getting relegated keeps growing day in, day out, as we see the performances are getting worse and worse and worse. Player relations with the manager is getting worse and worse, right? The football play, the tactics, the decisions for who starts, substitutions, getting worse and worse. Just, it's listen, man, we're going to end this here just so I don't keep ranting and going on. Listen, I want to thank you guys so much for being a part of this live stream. Continuing to support Spurs in these desperate times. Don't know how you do it. Really don't know how you do it. Doing that, go ahead. Feel free to throw a like on the live stream. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like, comment, share. You know, do all those things for me, please, if you could. I appreciate it. Oh boy, guys, we're gonna end it here tonight. Thank you guys so much for again just staying with the team because it's hard, bro. It's hard as a Spurs fan. So if you are a Spurs fan, listen, you'll see on my X, I go after people. I get angry, I get upset. But in all seriousness, right, we all do need to take a moment to try to band together. I get it. There's Spurs fans who are, lack of a better term, embarrassed. They're embarrassed of their club right now. They're embarrassed of walking around being a representation of Spurs. They're embarrassed for the people that are representing Spurs on the field and off the field. And you know what? With whether regardless you were one of the fans that said you need to protest or not, I'm pretty sure that now some of you are feeling embarrassed that wow, I spoke so highly and so much in disregard of the protest. Boy, I wish I protested. Boy, I wish I would have said, boy, I wish I would have not gone so hard against the protest. Boy, I wish I wouldn't have gone so hard in believing this ownership and believing in change because it's not going to change. Nothing's going to happen. So let's just move past this moment, right? We don't need to say who's right, who's wrong. We don't need to be divisive. Oh, I was right. I called this from years before. Let's just all move past that. And let's move to the stage where we all band together and we try to protest to get this ownership out. We move in one accord to get this ownership out, right? If you don't believe Enoch should be moved out, that's fine. That's fine. Stay over there. Stay over there. And this is not to, it's just not to be divisive. It's not to be mean, but you just have to divide the people who want to do something about this and the people who don't. And it's simple as. The people who want to do something about this, right? Who want this to change, who don't want to be who don't want this to be the situation that we're in. And there's people who there's people who don't want to do anything about it. And that's it. Everybody's a Spurs fan. Nobody's right. Nobody's wrong. It's just now simply a matter of, do you want to do something about it or do you not? And I think that's where we have to leave it as Spurs fans. That's where we have to make the decisions on whether it's fans you interact with, people you go to games with, YouTubers you follow, people you follow on social media, right? People you get your information from about the team, right? At this point, are you willing to do something about this or are you not? And if you're not, that's cool. Just stay over there. Simple as. We're gonna end it right there, folks. Thank you again so much. On that note, I want to end it here. I want to thank you guys so much for tonight. Again, feel free to like the live stream, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Thank you. Good night. I will see you guys on Friday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, for another De La Spurs live. Until then, peace.